Mr. Hill, his golden rule basically is a step towards the year 2025, as it happens with any other discovery that is worthwhile, the name discovery. No? So when he says treat others as you want to be treated, he calls that the golden rule, which his work, as far as I've been able to go over it and listen how Abraham goes over
Thank you.
it,
Thank
he
you.
understands it. His work is made out of a very a very polished and coherent logic. His words, the way the words are connected to each other, carry with that a beautifully polished and coherent logic, and that is his alrededor there around this topic, no, which he wrote, I understand, in the late 1800s. Is that right, Abraham?
Yeah.
Okay. Well then,
1800, yeah, late 1800s, 19.
okay. So imagine it's around the time where Einstein is developing, not publicly observable. It is in public. Is developing the foundations in his mind of the concepts of the mathematics of his work. His seminal work is 100 years, more than 100 years have gone by, and he's still talking to us. We're still just making discoveries or confirming what he discovered theoretically, not experimentally, theoretically. And at the same time, this guy Napoleon Hill is writing this thing about the golden rule. So imagine, look at the opposites, existential opposites, the existential dipole, the existential dichotomy. On the one hand, the most inner laws of physics, of time and space, being developed by this man, Einstein. And then the most inner laws of the minuteness, because Einstein's work works at the macroscopic level. And it is completely destabilizing, changing completely our conception of space and time. That's what he does. But at the same time, without these people knowing each other, and then they'll get to know each other, there's this other guy, the other side of physics, the microscopic, and quantum physics is coming into reality by people like, for example, Maxwell Planck and many others. But that's the opposite. Look, that's the opposite of Einstein. You see, and then at the same time, these other people they're working. This other person is working on the inside of human nature, the inside of human nature. So you got the outside of macroscopic level by Einstein, the inside of the microscopic level by Planck, relativity and quantum, and then the third dimension is the inner space of humanity. Look at that. This is a retrospective, historical retrospective, as we can see it now, 2025. Hey, please understand. Understand what's happening here, buddies. Understand it. Wake up if you're not. And then and Napoleon just is able to cover only this. I mean, I'm not belittling it at all. No. But with regards to what Abraham and I are doing, he has given us a very nice platform to go on even deeper than what he did in the late 1800s, man. Treat others as you want to be treated. And that is an expression of something that 1800 years before Christ said it. Please look what's happening here. Okay, and then we can rewrite the golden rule from treat others as you want to be treated, Mr. Hill. What I'm saying then, his credit to him is that beautifully polished logic of his proposals.
And what I want to go into that is he's trying to describe it through the golden rule, the last chapter. It's about treating the other person as you would treat yourself if that was you. We are spiritual beings, and he goes through all of his book talking about we're spiritual beings. We operate on frequencies. He's talking about this throughout the whole book, the tethering. What is the secret? Everybody's looking for the secret. And he's talking about we broadcast and receiving station. We can receive information from beyond. He talks about talking to Edison and talking to other people from the field itself. He's talking about quantum entanglement. He's talking about meeting with people and creating a round table and being guided spiritually. He's talking about quantum entanglement. So as we move into to teaching this information and the comprehension behind it is that we can go beyond existing belief systems that were integrated in the body, rewrite them, and change reality. You can even change your performance. All right. So going going through this, you're going to have to learn how to in your mind, because that's what you're having to find. You're having to find the movement in your consciousness, your awareness, and you've got to be able to learn to work through the fiber that makes you you, that makes you unique, that also makes you stuck. This
There
movement
are,
is an internal movement that you will
yeah,
have to learn it with from within yourself to change yourself. Go ahead, Ricardo.
yeah. I wanted to point out something there. So many points here, no? Well, you correct me, Abraham, if I'm wrong. Okay, please, because I don't know enough about Napoleon Hill's work. I've just seen a little bit, and I immediately I detect the exquisitely polished logic with what he wrote at the late 1800s. Okay, wow. So the golden rule is the way Napoleon Hill states it, right? Is treat others as you want to be treated, which is an extension of what Christ said 1800 years before him. Is that right? Is that true? Treat
Yep.
others as you want to be treated. Okay. Now, then, I go one step further. I want to know if that's true as well. What we are saying, what we are saying, in contrast with Hill, is treat others as you treat yourself. Is that true? But this is what we are saying, or what anyway, what you are saying. Is that true?
Treat others treat the other
As
person in front of you as if you would be treating yourself if that was you. So
how?
here's to go past what you see, hear, taste, touch, smell, to go past um, having somebody outside of yourself, to going to the inner spaces of self. So let's
Okay.
say let's go to Ho'oponopono. What's Ho'oponopono trying to tell you? He's saying take 100% responsibility. Act as if they are you. Listen to the mind mapping that this is going. Treat Ho'oponopono. When you hear somebody speaking, it's time for you to erase. Heal. Treat the other person as if it was you were treating you. How would you help you? How would you help influence you? How would you help you? It's not them. It's you. So here, when we
Okay.
look at programming and biofeedback, when you see others, you're seeing the reflection that you need to clear in you. Ho'oponopono.
Okay. Hold on. As you very well know, I'm working here to convert all of this stuff into science, which is what I've been doing for the last 50 years, and that is the result of that is the ICES model and its applications. But now I meet you, and then I start taking into account other aspects that didn't take into account. So watch this. I'm a stickler for words. I have to be. I have to be because I want to make a science out of this. So I got to assign words to its very specific things, and as precise as possible as possible. So look at the way I look at it. Okay, please listen to this. Napoleon Hill's golden rule implies, again, treat others as you want to be treated. That declaration is pointing to something that he's wanting you to stop and reflect.
But
Okay?
listen. He says that, and then he says, It's not just that. Then he says, treat the other person as if you would be treating yourself if that was you.
Oh, he said it is not Napoleon. He's also saying the second declaration. Yes.
Yes, he says
Oh,
that the golden
okay,
rule goes much deeper than what you think.
okay, okay. I thought that that was what you were saying.
No,
Okay,
Napoleon says it.
okay,
Napoleon says the golden rule is not as you hear it. The golden rule, the deeper meaning to the golden rule is to treat the other person as if
okay.
you would be treating yourself if that
Gotcha.
was you.
Thank you. Okay, I got that. Okay, that's clear to me. So then he is handing us the torch to carry on from there. Okay, he was able, and you say that this last aspect, treat others as you treat yourself. You see, the first aspect, treat others as you want to be treated,
No, no, no,
is
as you would want to be
oh,
treated.
oh, oh, as you would want, as you would want. I'm writing that down.
To go
As
beyond yourself. Listen to this. To go beyond programs. Look through the program. This is what he's telling you. Look through the program. See self. See God in him. Seek God in you.
okay. So look, okay. So treat others as you would want to be treated. That implies a sociological aspect of the thing. Okay, a sociometric, technically speaking, sociometric. You're measuring, you're questioning, you're measuring whatever it is you've been doing until now. Sociologically interacting with other people, Okay, this is where this thing is applied. Treat others as you would want to be treated by whom? By others, huh? But then he goes one step even deeper, and he takes it out of the sociological aspect. It is not long. This is no longer sociometric. He goes to the next declaration, which is treat others as you treat yourself. He takes a step deeper, and he now excludes the other people. See, and now he goes
Here we
into
go.
a propiometric. It is
Here we
now,
go. I got
yeah,
it. I had the book with me. The golden rule means substantially to do unto others as you would wish them to do unto you if your positions were reversed.
okay, okay, got it, beautiful.
But why? What is the real reason for this kindly consideration of others? The real reason is this: there is an eternal law, eternal, etheric, eternal. He talks about this field in his research, vibration and energy, through the operation of which we reap what we sow. When you select a rule of conduct by which you guide yourself in your transactions with others, you will be fair and just, very likely, if you know that you are setting into motion by the selection of a power
Okay,
that will run its course for weal or woe in the lives of others, returning finally to help or hinder you
okay,
according to its nature. Its nature. So he's got
okay,
power, its nature, what you're sending out, what's coming back, and then internal laws. So here's the biofeedback. What you're thinking, you're projecting. What you project, you attract.
okay. Got it. Okay, okay. It's enough. At least for me. So I'm exploring something here. I want to understand where are we in our contribution in this. Where are we in our contribution? That's what I want to understand. I want to understand that by understanding what Mr. Hill has said, and before that, what Christ said. So okay, I get a
Right here,
better.
he continues to talk about the golden rule is based. You must know what you are unjust dealings will come home to roost.
Wow,
Are you guys?
beautiful,
Yeah. So
beautiful, beautiful.
we're all entangled. Let's
Okay,
say now let's look at this is physical reality. Let's go to Ho'oponopono. If we're entangling on the quantum field, that means in Ho'oponopono, he's talking about the trash. You're already entangled with trash. That's why when you get down here physically, the quantum entanglement has already landed. It's already working for you. The people, the places, the plots, the conditions, the circumstances, the people you run into, it's because you're matricularly coming together in the quantum field, and it's trying to rationalize and bring down at the surface level, at material level, what you've been entangling with. So you're
Okay.
literally walking into your information.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Great. 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 Good. 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 That clears it out to me. Okay.
If you fully understood the principle described in lesson 10 on accurate thought, it would be quite easy for you to understand the law on which the golden rule is based. You cannot pervert or change the course of this law.
Those are his
But you,
words.
yes, but you
Okay.
can adapt yourself to its nature
Okay.
and
Hold
thereby
on.
use it.
Hold on, please. Look at the word. One of the words Hill has used. Please listen. This just word. I mean, it changes everything for humanity. It changes everything. Okay, at an extremely deep level. The word accuracy. Accuracy. What did Planck and Einstein do? You see, they redefined our conception of space-time. They really did. They redefined our conception of matter totally in the big picture of things and in the tiniest picture of things. They redefined our conception of matter. It is still not publicly distributed, that redefinition. You know, for most people, it's just history you learn in somewhere in school. But no, no, no. This is much more than that. They really redefined the whole thing for us.
So
Everything, every aspect.
let me go back to this. He's talking about this, whatever you send out must come back. And he says, if you choose to choose it, if you choose this power, whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. It is your privilege to deal unjustly with others. So he's saying this power is perfect. This power, there's nothing wrong with the power. So it's the images you put in the power. He said, if you want to use it unjustly, go ahead, but you will reap the unjustness. It will come back home to you. So here comes information moving into the field. So let's say you got programmed by your parents and they don't know any better. They're angry. Where did anger come from? It's a program. So let's say you learn to distribute anger in a certain way. So you get that, you sow that into your feedback. So then you go and you get angry. So in the field, you have anger information, anger matrix. So down here in physical reality, you will find it. So what you're finding down here is the matrix of what you're entangling with up there. He says here, this energy, this power, you can do what you will, but you reap, it will come home to roost back to you. So in the quantum field, you're entangling. On the physical reality, you're experiencing.
Okay, fine.
Accurate thought. It would be quite easy for you to understand the law on which the golden rule is based. It's accurate. You cannot pervert or change the course of this law, but you can adapt yourself to its nature and thereby use it as an irresistible power that will carry you to heights of achievement that could not be attained without its aid. This law does not stop by merely flinging back upon you or your acts of injustice and unkindness toward others. It goes further than this, much further, and returns to you the results of every thought you released.
Okay, okay. I mean, beautiful. That's okay. Okay, but you're taking me away from the point of view I want to make. I mean, it's beautiful. That's okay. But I want to make another point, which is subtler. It is embedded inside everything you just said. That's where I want to go. I want to go there. I want to go there. I want these guys here, this person's here. I want the whole world to understand where that puts us. Where that puts us. What are we against here as humanity, as a group? Okay, it is no longer just a sociological, a social metric thing. It is a propiometric thing. Because when you're dealing with truth, whatever aspect of truth, not a version of it, whatever aspect of truth you got to deal with regarding your own existence, you are freaking alone. Carla, you are alone. No matter how many people are surrounding you, you are alone. And in this day and age, okay, this day and age, what we are up against, what's going forward, what lo que nos espera, what's out there waiting for us as we move, okay, inward, and we move forward toward what is expecting us is an enormous increase in precision. Precision. That is hanging over us now. And this is what Abraham and I want to.
Metric, let's reverse. Can you go reverse real quick? Metric, what?
Oh yeah, yeah. There are two terms there because see, the observer can only the observer, the one that is organized inside of the mind, that observer, the one who is capable of being conscious, that observer. That's what I'm talking. That's the observer. I'm always talking about that observer. Do not confuse it with what the brain does. It can pay attention. It can be on guard. It can be alert. No. And that's the brain. That's the brain. Now, in the mind, there's an observer, and that exists as such because it is conscious of whatever. It can be conscious of something that is not it. For example, there is an image of something, there's a concept of something, and it becomes conscious of that. And inside the category.
Hold on. So everybody understands this. The observer is being built.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's where he gets built from the belief systems, programs, ideas. So that observer becomes conscious, but it becomes conscious according to all the belief systems.
Yes, and also it can become conscious. That's in local space. When you can swivel back into the bi-local space.
If and when you can swivel.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
and when.
Yeah.
This is so fundamental because if you don't become aware, you miss it. This is so.
This is where I the word
So
precision.
sly,
This is
sly.
this is where
Give
the
me
word
another word.
this is where the word precision comes in. You see, because the swiveling we're talking about happens in milliseconds at that speed. Milliseconds. That's a tremendous demand of being capable of exerting your capacity to be aware, your capacity to be conscious every millisecond. Please understand, that is the demand. That is the degree of precision that nature is wanting of us. Get involved every millisecond with your own life. Because in the millisecond is the only place from within time you can make any strides towards eternity. And consciousness, the wave, is the door to your own door to eternity.
So let's look at consciousness, the wave. Could we look at consciousness, the wave, as a wave that goes around or entangles around the donut itself?
That's what we got to do to understand the whole thing. How is that set into motion from the very moment that your umbilical cord was cut? Pack, there it is. You have no more umbilical cord.
Consciousness, the wave, allows you access to divine, to go beyond the program, to go beyond the transcribed, ascribed coding. So
Yep.
consciousness, the wave, if we can go beyond bilocal, if we can go beyond the classical, go beyond bilocal state, more towards the wave, you'll be able to see your unjustness to yourself.
Oh yeah, that's the only place from where you can see it.
You can't see it when you're in the code. When you're in the program, you're angry, you're upset, you feel guilt, shame, any of these things that reduce consciousness, guilt, shame, embarrassment, any negative words reduce you to local state.
You have to
but
go
it's
to.
not you. The shame is coming from transcribed, ascribed programs, but that's not you. But that observer will think it's him or her.
Yeah.
Because it's binary. It's listening to its code. You got to say, if I can hear somebody talking to me, it's not me. It's the code.
And those are the codes, the ascribed codes, which make up ascribed programs, and the transcribed codes, which make up transcribed programs. They are there only and because only one reason, that your inscribed codes have been veiled. They were not revealed when they should have been between 0 and 21. At every millisecond you were coming out into the world, the inscribed codes have to be revealed if they are allowed to be revealed. You see? But if they're not revealed, then they become veiled. I'm not playing with words here. If they're not revealed, they become veiled. And then you retain the veiledness, okay, for the rest of your life until you wake up again. But when they become veiled, then you've gone to a state of being asleep. Asleep. So what happens when you're asleep? Immediately the whole system says, hey, wait a moment. There is no inscribed code. There's no point of reference in order we can refer to understand what the hell we are supposed to be doing now. How do I exist now? All that happens in millions of seconds, like that. That speed. Okay? So when that is, you are faced with that, God, and I lost access to my inscribed codes. Of course, you don't say it, but the system does say it for you. He lost access, man. He's lost access to his reference point about what tells him who and what he is. He's lost access to that inscribed code. He's lost access.
Here we go. You
Help.
must bring the darkness to the light. So whatever thing that you are afraid of, or you feel negative, guilty of, embarrassed of, you need to bring the darkness to the light. Bring that was within you. Bring it to the light. What does it mean? How is this holding you back? Is this me? If you can hear it, it's not you. So you bring the belief to the light, and this is where you can access. If your coding had not been veiled, you are revealing more light. If
So
if you see you can't release much light, if you feel like I can't create my life, I can't do this, I can't do that, it's because your divineness has been veiled. You cannot
yes,
see yourself. You see your belief. That's a problem.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you must become selfless. You're either the self, that's the abscribe, transcribe coding, all your belief systems, or you become selfless. You become light, divine.
And that's something you have to apply in from the bilo. You have to shrivel to the bilocal space with
To
the
your local
actual.
space, all the way down to between your eyes, behind your eyes.
Yeah, yeah. So if your inscribed code has been veiled, it wasn't revealed, therefore it remains veiled, okay, then the system will generate transcribed codes and ascribed codes. It will. To replace the veiledness of your inscribed codes. You see what I'm
So
saying?
that it can, because it wants to be somebody.
Yeah, of course you have
So
to.
it wants to be somebody. So even your belief wants to be somebody. So if you take on a belief or a program, and your consciousness still wants to live. So then it arranges your math. You begin imagining what's possible for you. But it's not you looking at what's possible for you. You're looking at what's possible for the program.
So
So
this
then you
is
go
not.
and act. You go out to life, go pick a tire man. I'm going to go pick a tire man. What was he doing? Well, he was going to what? He still wanted to live. So he goes to his belief system to live. So in what we're saying right now, you guys are matrixing your metric, your metering within who am I? What am I? Who am I? What idea is in me that is clothed itself, and then I'm not able to experience more of my life as I want? What idea in me? I'm going to move into my life here in a minute. I'm moving into mind matrix. I'm moving into belief systems. How many of these belief systems are in me that are controlling me, that cause me to go act and behave as I behave? So this is something within your mind you must find and let go. Bring it to the light.
We are not
Ho'oponopono.
talking. We are not talking about mood making, please. You know all what's it called? Self help books and all these talleres workshops that are done around self help. It is not a matter of generating a nice mood you can live with and you feel complacent. We are not talking about that at all. No, this is real transformation, real nitty gritty transformation that literally changes the workings of your brain, the workings of your body, literally changes them, literally. That's what we're talking about. That's not about mood making. Oh my God, you have to go through a bunch of shit inside of you, because the deeper, the higher you go within yourself, the more shit you'll be going through.
You got to go into the deep recesses, bring to the light what is dark.
Exactly. Yeah. You see, You get this, yes? And it is not easy. It is a very difficult thing because there's a lot of resistance and mostly there's a lot of pain in between.
There's a lot of you, but it's not you. It's data, trash. There's a lot of you that's not you.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
you want to be selfish and you want to hold on to the belief.
yeah,
Let it go.
that's because like we are hypnotized by it. You see, we are hypnotized. We live in a state of trance because we live from a state of trauma. And for there to be trauma, it doesn't have to be you were raped or you gang raped or whatever. You just saw your buddy be exploded in thousand pieces. No, no, no. You don't have to go to that extreme for trauma to exist at all. No, 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 no. That definitely is an extreme of trauma. It can be a little trauma, depending about your sensitivity as a child, as your constitution, and
And it
that
could
would
be
be
enough to
enough.
lock you away. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. But why? Why? Because your subcortical structures, the subcortical architecture, is there to protect you from anything that can be seen as a threat. A thread. No, threat, no, with a T. Yeah, it is there to protect you. You have to survive your circumstances. So one of the many mechanisms you count with is the state of the emergency reaction. And an emergency reaction moves you into fight, flight, or freeze. Three options. You do not pick them. They pick themselves. According to what the brain appraises, it is necessary. You see? So it will send you into fight and you'll stay there. You get stuck. Becomes hostility. It will send you into flight. It becomes medrosidad in Spanish. There's a word for that, I suppose, in English, and it will push you into freeze, and you live constantly in terror. Freeze. There's nothing you can do. You just become paralyzed. You see, that is called emergency reaction. That's pure chemistry. Pure chemistry. Pure chemistry. Pure molecules, neurotransmitters, modulators, and pathways, networks, circuits. That's it. That's all it is. That's it. But they determine how your muscles move. And you
Determines
can
the way
get
you
stuck.
value yourself.
And from there, of course, the way you value yourself. So you can be insignificant, or from
Be
your
yourself.
insignificance, you can bounce back from your insignificance, okay, and you can bounce back and build yourself to be absolutely arrogant. You see, all of
You
that
can
is
also bounce into becoming consciousness the wave and bring in more virtue to yourself.
that's also
And then
possible.
and you can change the values.
Yep. Okay. Good. You're using the distinction. Very good. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. And as you can notice, there's a distinction between value and virtue. You got to understand the difference. Very important. Very, very important difference. They're not the same thing at all. But nowadays we use one as if for the other. That's a big mistake. Again, precision. Precision. That is what nature is demanding of us. That is what consciousness, the wave, is demanding of us.
Well,
Why?
let's go
Why?
to
Why?
virtue. Let's go to virtue and values so that everybody can use. If you can understand what we're telling you, you can start to apply. You'll begin to learn the mind matrix that you do within the own brain. So let's bring up value and virtue.
Okay, well, let's okay. Uh, for this to be clear to you, to make sense to you, you have to understand, according to the work that I've been doing, that there is a mind. It does exist. It has its own existence, its own laws, and it has a particular function. Right? The mind is made of space that is there because of a quantum engineering that changes space and converts it into an inner space, a space where it is there because it is there to contain us. We are contained inside a womb, which is called the space of which the mind is made. Just as the uterus of your mother was the womb, a space in which you grew physically, right? There's also a space in which you grow psychologically, vivencialmente. Literally. And this is what the mind, human mind is. It is what it does. It is a space that contains you. So that space has two very big, gigantic regions, which again are made of subregions. Well, let's make it simple. The upper region, if I may, is called the chattering mind, and the deeper region is called the heart of the mind, for lack of a better word. It's too long, so I don't like it, but I don't have another word. I have a technical word, yeah, but I won't use it here. So you got the chattering mind and you got the heart of the mind. There it is. But they're very different. They have different qualities. The space, this made of space. They're both made of space, literally. The mind is a space, and the mind is a womb because we require space to act. In order for the space to act as a womb, it can contain us. But the way the chattering mind contains us is different. Has a different quality than the way the heart of the mind contains us. It's different. It has different laws governing each space. Different. Okay, so within that context, I can explain the difference between value and virtue. Okay? Values are born inside the chattering mind. Only there. Only there. In no other place, just there. Okay? Now, what is a value? I'll go into that. And in the
Give me 1 second, Ricardo.
Excuse me?
1 second. Both make up space, but they have different laws for both spaces.
Yes, they're different. They have different features. They sponsor different phenomena. All of them are you, aspects of you, facets of you, but they're all you. Yeah, and they have different features, different qualities, different properties. There are different laws governing what's happening in each of those two spaces, each of those two regions, chattering mind and heart of the mind. There are different processes, there are different processings. In other words, in Spanish it's easier. There are diferentes procesos, and there's also diferentes procesamientos. Look at that. Those are not synonyms. And there are different mechanisms. So the mechanics of one is not the same thing as the mechanics of the other one. They're different. They're all different. I don't
And
understand.
these are entangling back and forth, sending feedback.
Oh yeah, constantly. Oh yeah.
Quantitative. This is the quantitative state that is moving information back and forth from itself to itself, by itself, of itself, to entangle with the quantum particle, neurons, photons, electrons, so that it
Yes.
mathematically creates a sequence of events that you walk into.
Yes.
It's a
Agree.
framework.
Yep. And that's exactly where my work is taking me.
Their
Okay.
job is to look within the fibers of information to create an algorithm, something that you can walk into.
And you can use it, you can apply it on yourself. You see,
And it's happening with it's happening with your higher state, but you're normally not aware there.
now, if I'll make
And
a little
maybe we could say we're normally not allowed, or we normally do not get enough, maybe fire, enough spark to become aware through the processing of it itself yet.
okay, good. At this point, I would like to just point out a little digression. I'm going to digress a little from talking about value and virtue. Okay, just a little digression. I'll give you two words that are very important to distinguish. Okay, one is experience. What is experience? I'm going to tell you a little about that. And what is vivencia? There's no word for that in English, unfortunately. But it is a very important word because it is talking about something very different from experience. So you can use the word experiencia, experience, and the word vivencia, if you wish, as we've done with stress. We use stress in Spanish all over the place, right? Stress this, estoy estresado, yeah? Okay, dame algo para el estresado que estoy. No, that kind of thing. We've already incorporated the word in Spanish, stress. Well, all you English people will have to do the same thing with the word vivencia, or vivencia, as you will, as you wish. Sounds horrible. So what is experience versus what is vivencia, okay? Experience is the name given to your contact with the world, your connection, your contact with your environment. That is experience. Okay? That is experience. That's the definition of experience. Vivencia, no, is the other way around. Since we do have a space where we can actually live of our own accord, if we don't transgress that or we are not transgressed, we can live in that space assigned to us. It's called the mind. This is where vivencia arises. Okay? And what is vivencia? Is your consciousness, your awareness, you are conscious of how you live yourself when you are in contact or not in contact with yourself, with your own existence, because you actually come to exist inside of the womb of your mind, of that space, those two spaces, the heart of the mind and the chattering mind. Okay, that's vivencia. It's your contact with yourself inside of your own mind. Yes? There's an inner space, you see. But then outside of you, there's an outer space in regards to the inner space of the mind. So in the outer space, you have to come in contact with the outer space, with the environment that surrounds you. That is experience. Got it? Yeah? But now look at this. Look at this detail. Now let's look at the structure of experience and then the structure of vivencia. Oh man, this is really where everything goes very interesting. Okay, structure of experience, what do I mean by that? Okay, everything that happens to you when you come in contact with the world, okay, it is 20% of what happened to you. In any experience, 20% of it is what happens to you. Okay? You don't have control over that. You don't have control over that. It happens to you. Okay? That is the half of the structure of experience. 20% of any experience is what happens to you. Happened to you. Got it? So there are laws that govern that happening. Of course, yeah, there are. This is what the model is describing with incredible precision, more and more and more and more. Okay? So, in any experience, 20% of it is what happened to you, or what happens to you. Okay? 80% is what you do with it. Be mindful of that, please. 20% is what happened to you, and 80% is what you did or what you do with it. Man, that is powerful.
And the other accessing point is consciousness, the wave, becoming aware it's none of that, and it can rearrange the 20 and the 80.
Yes, and it can do that from where? From vivencia. Vivencia is the other way around. Remember, vivencia is taking you to this understanding that there are laws that govern your very appearance, the way you appear, the way you come into existence inside of your mind, inside of the womb provided by the space that we just call your mind. And that has two regions, the chattering mind and the heart of the mind. You come into existence. You are made to happen. You are made to happen. You are spawned. You are spawned inside those two regions. You are spawned inside your heart of your mind, and you are made to happen. You are spawned into the chattering mind. Understand it? Understand this? This is it. So what is vivencia from that point of view? I can give it to you. Okay? I already gave you the definition. It's your contact with yourself. But now let's look at the structure. Okay, 80% of vivencia is what makes you happen. 20% is what you do with it. It's exactly the opposite of experience. 20% of experience is what happened to you. 80% is what you do with it. Vivencia, no. 80% is what makes you happen. All the laws, everything you have no control of, but you can feed on it. Okay? 80% of your vivencia is what makes you happen. So then we have to go and understand, okay, what are the laws that make me happen? What are the laws that make me happen inside this space called the heart of the mind? What are the laws that make me happen inside this space called the chattering mind? See what I'm saying? You see? And what do I look like when I'm made to happen inside one region or the other region? What is it all about? That's already been deciphered. I have it deciphered. You see what I'm saying? But then the 20% of the vivencia is what? What you do with it. So how those two things, percentages in vivencia, connect to the percentages of experience? Write it down. Write it down both and study it. Study it to see how they're both connected. How does the 80 and 20% of your vivencia connected to the 20 and 80% of your experience? How are they connected? There's you go. There's the precision we're talking about. You see? Got it? And that is a game changer. It puts all responsibility for your aloneness in you. All of it. Your stupidity and your divinity. All in you. And believe me, there's a shitload of stupidity in all of us. All
So
God.
vivencia, 80%
Yeah,
is
vivencia.
what makes you happen.
Yes,
20% is what you do with it.
yes. And experience is 20% what happens to you, right? 80% what you do with it. So connect them both.
Experience is 20%.
What happens to you, and 80% what you do with it. Now connect both. That's gonna fry your egg, your noodle. It'll fry mine. But the more I decipher that,
20% of what happens to you is experience. 80%
it's what you do with it.
is what you do with it.
Now, so now watch, Abraham. Now all of you are gonna doodle that, right? Okay, and you're gonna start thinking about how this 80%, maybe 20% of experience is connected to 80%, 20% of events. How are they connected? Okay. Well, in the middle of both, I'll give you one more hint here. In the middle of both, look in the middle, the connection between the two of them. There are many things that are going to come out from that. Okay. I've done my homework, so I know what I'm talking about. I want you to do your homework as well. At least fry your noodles a little bit, with this. Okay, trying to figure it out. But there is a thing in between them that connects them also, besides other aspects, other factors, is what in my work I call trinia, the three reins: coping, dealing, and steering. Oh man, they are beautiful. They open up perceptual windows, and they open up action doors for us. We start understanding that. Okay, those three put together I call trinia, from the Greek, three reins, no, R-E-I-G-N-S. Toma las riendas, suelta las riendas. Take up your reins and let go of your reins. There are three: coping, dealing, and steering. Trinia, those three things put together, okay, they connect the 80-20 of vivencia with 20-80 of experience. Man, that's an interesting thing to look at. Oh boy. But first begin by just wanting to figure it out, okay, how does the 20-80% of experience connected to the 80-20% of events? How are they connected? Just look at that. Figure out something that you can call yours. Every time you reflect on anything, mind you, please, in the chattering mind, okay, that big upper region of the mind, the chattering mind is called, can be divided into three regions, okay? That very region is called, it can be subdivided into three sub-regions. The surface of the chattering mind, a line, a fringe dividing the surface from the depth. Okay? The surface, the omadic, it's called omadic, O-M-A-D-I-C, omadic fringe, and underneath is the depth of the chattering mind. Okay? And in the middle is you got the omadic fringe. We can somewhere we can talk about all this stuff. The surface of the chattering mind, I'm going to contrast right now the surface versus the depth of the chattering mind. I'm going to contrast that. Those are just spaces, but they have different aspects, different features. Okay?
Service or depth, and what was the other one?
Yeah, there's a dotted line, if you wish, that separates surface, right, from depth. Yes, that dotted line is just not a dotted line. No. It's a fringe. It's called the omadic fringe. O-M-A-D-I-C. Omadic fringe.
Omatic.
Yeah. O-M-A-D as in Dwight, I-C. It's called the omadic fringe. Okay? And what the hell is that? Fringe, yeah. F-R-I-N-G-E. Fringe. Okay? In Spanish is la franja omádica. Okay? And by the same token, if you go all the way down to the depth of the chattering mind, go down the chattering mind in its depth. Okay, from the omatic fringe all the way down the chattering, the depth of the chattering mind. Then before you enter the heart of the mind, there's also a line that separates the whole chattering mind from the heart of the mind. That line that separates both regions is called the telic fringe. T-E-L-I-C. Telic fringe. Okay? Telic.
Entering. What? How do you spell it again?
Telic
Yep.
is T as in temple, T E L I C. Telic. From the Greek telos, which
Relic
means
fringe.
fringe, yeah, F-R-I-N-G. Franja télica in Spanish. Telic fringe in English.
Okay.
Okay, they are dividers if you wish, but they're not only dividers. No, no, no. Things happen in them. Okay? I'll just say it fast. In the telic fringe is the region where human will is devised. That's the telic fringe. Is the region where human will literally is constructed, instructed, obstructed, or destructed. That's the telic fringe. You know, insignificant detail. Okay? And it takes the first 21 years of life for your will to be constructed and instructed in the best scenario. And not a good scenario, obstructed, and the worst scenario, destroyed, destructed.
So you said constructed, obstructed, destructed.
Constructed, instructed, from
Okay.
instruction, construction,
Const-
instruction, obstruction,
constructed.
instructed, yeah, obstructed, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And in Spanish it would be destruido, no? But you don't have that in English, so you have to say destroyed. But I don't like that how it sounds, so I say destructed, no? But it's destroyed, no? Destructed. The human will go through all of those scenarios from 0 to 21 years of age. And that's being built, literally. Either in a state of construction and instruction, either in a state of obstruction, or in a state of destruction. Yeah.
So here, I want to jump real quick back to value and
Yeah.
vivencia.
So the
The
reason,
value and virtues. We need to
yeah.
tie this back up so everybody can at least get a conceptualization. And
Okay.
maybe throughout the day, try to understand it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So what is a value? Value only happens, it is only organized in the chattering mind. Okay? Only there in the other place. No, not in the brain. No, there. That is where it originates. Now that interacts with the chattering mind of everybody else. Yes, that's what happens. But it comes from that particular chattering mind of any particular person. A child is being taught that as part of his ascribed codes. Value belongs to ascribed codes. And what do I mean by that? Value has a lot of different meanings in different contexts. I'm just going to pinpoint one of them. That's all, just one of them. A value is a pattern of behavior that is to be repeated and imitated. I'll say it slowly, okay? A value is a pattern of behavior which is based on a pattern of thought and feeling. It's a pattern of behavior based on a pattern of thought and feeling whose function is to create uniformity among the peoples of a given place.
Structured to create.
Uniformity among the peoples of a given place, a geographical, perimeter or whatever. Remember the difference between perimeter and parameter, okay? Not the same.
Geographic race.
No, place, geographical place. No?
Very well race too.
Oh yeah.
Plays
And race, oh yeah.
according to what they consider authenticity. and then
Oh yeah.
they
Oh yeah. Also,
create
okay.
their own values.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Now, why uniformity? Why? Why? Because if everybody is
And they face.
uniformly applying those values, those patterns of behavior that have to be imitated and applied, okay, then that reduces the possibility that they will kill each other. They will obliterate each other. It reduces the possibility. That's why uniformity is so important. You see? Then I can consider you my brother because you are sharing with me the same values. And those values become what? Become my north, my compass. You see? And since you belong to the same group of people I belong, then it's a given that you and I are uniformly connected by the same values. Therefore, you are not going to come into my tent at night and kill me. You see? And people out there in society, boy, do they fill their mouth with value. Value here, value constructed education, the Catholic values, the cultural values of being a patriot, that stupidity, stupidity, stupidity. Okay?
Now, are you guys starting to see how mind mapping? That's what we're doing. We're looking at the mind matrix, or decoding the mind matrix. That'll make for a good book.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Not only one, several. So look, so what does it imply? Oh my God, hell of a lot. A lot of shit. A lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. And then by concept we'll go into virtue. Okay. But first a little bit of
So right there, all values, you're seeing the belief systems and how culturally they have integrated within your brain, mind, brain, spirit, mind, brain, and then you organize that to think. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ricardo.
yeah, okay. Yeah, really. It's too, I laughed to tears, man, when I discovered this shit. Oh God, what the hell have we done to each other? But we survived, right? We survived. We're here, no? We survived, right? Now we have to go beyond that. Come on, Carla. Come on, Veronica. We gotta go beyond just surviving. It is not just leaving survival on the side. No, 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 no. But make it intelligent by connecting it to the other aspect. Learn to live. In order to survive, there's only thing when you got to do, that's all. Invoke your subcortical structures and react. That's it. You survived. That's cool because it got you here. But now, if you want to wake up, you want to go beyond that and get your neocortex involved, then you have to stop using your subcortex. You got to. You see? And your subcortex is profoundly, profoundly hooked into some ascribed codes and totally hooked to all your transcribed codes and programs. You see? So you got to go beyond that. So how do you do that? You have to learn to put a stop to the...
Neocortex is directly hooked up.
What was that?
You said the neocortex, you have to use the neocortex to go beyond, but the neocortex is directly entangled with the transcribe and ascribe coding.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
Neocortex is
Yeah.
directly.
When you use, okay, I'll go to that. When you use your neocortex, okay, it naturally invites you to do something which is very different than when you use your subcortex. Your subcortex always invites you to react because that's what you got to do if you're going to survive. You got to react with, okay, in a
Not
scale of reaction.
necessarily. You could imagine.
Yeah, but you can imagine. Yes, of course you can. But if you're not handling the reactivity, if you're not handling the reactivity behind your reaction, your imagination will be infected with that degree of
Yeah,
reactivity.
because it's conflicted. So this is where I was talking to you about telepathically seeing what was going to happen before,
Yeah.
and it allowed me to have access of the accident before it's coming.
Yeah.
And then it reversed. I came back and my body knew exactly what to do. My body took over. I
That's
knew the sentient consciousness took over, and I started to move the car, and I veered around it, and I didn't experience
Yeah, that
the
your
quantum.
body,
I moved in the
your
quantum, saw it before time, and I
yes, yes,
yep,
your body reacted. You understand?
yep.
You didn't command it. It reacted to
No, the
what you
body knew what to
saw,
do.
to what
Yeah,
you saw ahead of time. But look at
yep.
this. Look at this. Look at this. Listen. Well, what does the neocortex do? The neocortex does something different. That's why it is made of a wiring that's to be fabricated, whereas your subcortex is made of a prefabricated wiring. You just use it. It's
So this
prefabricated.
is where we can tap into superhuman, paranormal
Also,
activity.
indeed, sir.
Yeah.
Indeed. But
That positioning there, you're. I remember it's happened to me several times, but you almost like you slow down time. So
yes, you do.
you're going through the milli
Yeah.
parameters. I'm moving through the milli parameters of
Yeah.
information,
Yes. You
and
you
my
you
body was able to tweak faster, move faster.
that's exactly it. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. The scale at which the scale of time in which at which your brain is wiring in the neocortex, which is to be fabricated. It isn't prefabricated. The prefabricated wiring is subcortically. In your neocortex, it is not. It is a to be fabricated wiring, to be. And it requires the first 21 years of life to be actually fabricated. And what does it do? What is the yield of that to be fabricated wiring? It has two yields. One, you learn to respond, which is not react. And two, you learn to propose, which is not respond. And what's the difference? When you learn to respond, you learn to deal with the present. You see, when you learn to propose, you're learning to generate the emergent future. You see? And that requires a wiring that still has to happen between 0 and 21. You see? And when you do that, when you generate the wiring of responding and the wiring of proposing, okay, you are learning to live. But if you can only just react, you're only learning to survive by using a prefabricated wiring. You see? So those two need to interact with each other in a more constructive way. So that
Very.
the neocortex puts the brakes on the subcortex. You see? You have to tame it. You have to master your brain. When you master your neocortex, that's called you're domesticating it. When you master your subcortex, you're taming it. You're taming it. So
Spirit
that, yeah.
masters the mind. Spirit masters neurocortex, subcortex.
Oh yeah, the spirit is behind that. Conscious is the wave is behind that.
If the observer can become aware that's who he is,
Yes.
and
And so
not your codes, not your programs, not your beliefs.
it requires then that you have access to the reference point. You will always go back to it. That tells you what you are, where you are. That is your inscribed codes. That's your reference point. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So let's go back to virtues, if you wish. Now, you see. So a virtue is different. It's an entirely different phenomenon. They arise naturally. You don't know where they come from. You don't even know that they exist. You just use them because they use you. A virtue arises inside of the heart of the mind. Look at the contrast. A value, no. It's a matter of the uniformity that can be experienced among different people of the same group because you're repeating a patterns of behavior which is based on patterns of thoughts and feelings. Okay. And you got a uniformity there. Why is it there? Because you gotta be sharing the same thing in order to reduce the possibility that you'll kill each other. That's basically it. That is what culture is made of. We can put all kinds of nice dressings and all kinds of nice rituals, all kinds of nice dancing, whatever. Those are just the icing in the cake. Underneath it is, hey, let's make sure we don't obliterate ourselves. Let's share the same values. You see? And that where is that coming from? From your own mechanics of your chattering mind. That's where it comes from everybody else in that group, or any human, anywhere. Okay, so what is it going to be like when we actually get to meet aliens, literally? Oh, that's going to be an interesting contrast. But virtue is different. You see, inside that your heart of the mind, there is, again, there's a surface and there's a depth, right? Just like there is in the chattering mind. There's a surface, there's the omatic fringe, and then there's the depth, right? But now you go into the heart of the mind, and it begins with a telic fringe, right? Then you go to the bilocal space, and then you got the non-local space. So everything about the chattering mind is local. With its depth, with its geomatic fringe, and with the surface, everything there is local space. Okay? But if you talk now about the structure, the architecture of the heart of the mind is a different thing. It's altogether different. Different features, different laws, different outcomes. You are an outcome of what happens also in your heart of the mind. And that begins with the telic fringe, then you go into the bilocal space, and then you go to the non-local space, and then you go to the underground of your mind, and then you step out of your mind, and there is consciousness, the wave looking in. And
saying,
acting.
why are you acting and behaving like that? Do you know who you are?
Yep.
Can you recognize me?
Yep. Exactly. That's what we have called God, you see. The bummer with that is that we remain bugs, and we talk about a giant called God, yeah, that is completely removed, far away from you, the buggy. Yeah. So you think that you're humble because you humiliate yourself in front of that thing which is bigger than you are, because you're just a little bug. You see, that's what we call God. Oh no. If I may be profane, Abraham Carranza, we are fucked up. We've always been. Okay? Because we are not bugs, man. Understand? You understand that? Please understand.
Now the other aspect to look at it would be, as you get more heart-centered, higher-centered, you can be consciousness of the wave.
Of course.
And then you can look towards, if you wanted to call God, consciousness the sea. So
Oh, yeah. Okay. Why the hell you want to do that, man? Come on.
I'm giving everybody a coping, dealing, and steering so that they can have more understanding.
Yeah.
Right?
Abraham, man, you are. Jesus Christ. Oh, boy. The
You gotta
reason
be
why
cute.
the reason why we are laughing is because oftentimes when I declare something which is rigorous, it is affixed. Then I can always say, wait for it, wait for it.
Here it comes.
You know, and Abraham speaks in and says, yeah, but he wants to open other possibilities, which takes away the rigor of the damn thing, you know? And he did it again. That's why we are laughing.
Just
Okay,
open up
let's
more
keep on.
space.
No,
I actually always saw it as consciousness, the sea as God, and consciousness, the wave was us. I always saw it that way.
great, excellent.
Okay.
Very good. Now you have to live up to it in every millisecond of your life.
There you go, Carla. Live up to it.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, okay, fine. You have a nice thing you can talk about with your tongue. Now
Well,
put it
no,
in your body.
actually, it's a truth for me, because all this conversation has, I've even realized it before, but now it's really solidifying that, I experienced trauma from 1 year old until 13.
No.
That's the body. Hey, let me finish. The body.
Clear it. Trash.
The data, the body, the data that experienced all of that.
There you
so
go.
now moving forward, I as the data recognized that as
No. I as consciousness recognize data now.
I as consciousness recognize the data as being myself, which I thought was myself.
No. As data.
No,
Get it clear.
No. I didn't think I was the data. I thought that was me.
I know.
That's the difference. And now looking back, yes, it's data.
So
But
I
I
want
didn't
you
realize
to
that.
speak it. I want you to
Pardon?
speak it out, because right now I want you to speak it out. accurately right now so you can center
Right.
yourself.
Okay. So the separation is, and now recognize everything is data. I completely recognize it as data. I am not the
Was not
data.
me.
It's
That
not
was the
me.
data.
That was the data, 100%.
Experiencing data.
Yes. Yes,
But I
experiencing
want you to
data.
say it.
Okay, so I, as a spiritual being,
Mhm.
recognize now that everything that the body that I experience, the data that I experience was the data. So it's not me, 100%.
Very
It's
good.
not my spiritual being. And that's what, when there one point, um, Ricardo was saying, oh, we have to go up against it. And it's actually, I think that's the issue. It's that we don't have to go up against it, is we have to
No,
go
no, no.
through it.
There you go. You don't have the cope, deal, and steer if you're aware enough. If that's a big if you're aware enough, you do not have to cope, deal, and steer at that level. You can flow through.
Yeah,
Very
I
good.
think
You see,
yes, but
that,
that's I believe that is the main issue everyone has, that they think they have to go against it. That's the main issue. Once you realize, wait a second, no, I don't have to do this. I actually can do that. But I think most
But you
people
have to
don't
recognize
realize.
God. You
Pardon?
have to recognize God. If you
Yes,
can recognize that you are one with the creative force and you're not the data and you're not the body and you're not the circumstances, the conditions, then you can be cleared and you can flow through.
100%, 100%, because I did not recognize myself as being,
Your
an
light.
element of God, right? So God is a huge, unified field, and we are stars of God, right? So we're all like
You're
parts of
divine.
God. Pardon?
Yeah. You're divine.
Yes. So, I
Sovereign. So I want you to use the word sovereign.
being sovereign.
No,
So
I am sovereign.
I am so yes, yes. Oh, I'm trying to get my point across. I am. So I am sovereign divine being of light. And as a child, because the data that I experienced in the non-sovereign divine being of light that I am, that actually influenced me to not feel connected and completely disconnected 100%. So until recently, like last 5 years, it's like that started to open up for me and be like, wow, okay, what's really going on here? Because there was a complete 100% disconnection, 100% disconnection.
Awareness.
Yes, non-awareness, not even existing in that awareness, and really, really believing 100% in the body, in the data, in the
And the data. Very
believing
good.
that the data was me, 100% believing that
Wonderful.
almost my entire life. What's that? Oh, sorry.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We are
So
past our time.
and we didn't talk about
Thank
virtue.
you, Carla.
yeah. Thank
We didn't
you.
get to the virtues, but we'll do that tomorrow. Uh,
Okay.
I really enjoyed this, and I want you guys to go practice. This is the only place you can find who you are is after this class, during this class, through the class, and then as you move out into the world right now. Are you working from codes, or are you becoming more divine? Thank you guys, and everybody have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Love, love.
Thank
Love,
you.
love.
Hey, everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone.